friends, and welcome to my channel if you're new, or welcome back if you are back. If you are new, hi, my name's Rabbit and my pronouns are they, them. I just wanted to pop in super fast to film a quick intro and say hello and happy spooky season, and I'm so sorry this vlog is so late, but it's gonna be like an hour of Halloween content. Gonna do a bunch of adventures from Rocky Horror Picture Show, haunted house, lots of cooking and baking, blanket fort, spooky movies. It's gonna be a fantastic time. I hope you're excited to come along with me. Real quick before we get into it though, I need to show you two things about this look that are making me very happy and excited. First, these little jack-o'-lanterns. They're nail stickers that I got really cheap at the thrift store for like a giant pack of them, and I just put like little jack-o'-lanterns, and I know they're like a little shiny, but the details are just like way too small for me to do with like regular eyeliner, so until I get my skills to like proper like tiny jack-o'-lanterns on the face levels, little stickers despite the slight shine I think are fantastic. The other thing that I wanted to show really quick is these awesome earrings. My boyfriend got them for me. They're ceramic and they're corn. They're so cute, dude. I love them. This is The Artist. I'll put it here and link it below so that you can see. But they're so cute. I just wanted to shout it out because I think they're so fun. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it, and I hope you had a wonderful Halloween. Feel free to tell me all about your spooky season in the comments. And I know October is technically over, but the Halloween joy never ends here, so I hope that this vlog still like makes sense for people that feel the same way as me and never want it to end. So yes, thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get into the vlog. Hey friends, I'm a little bit like sweaty and frazzled looking today, but I wanted to pop in really quick because I just got off work and I'm about to go to this like haunted corn maze kind of thing. I've never been to this specific one, and it seems like it should be a ton of fun. Just wanted to pop in and show my outfit before I head out. Just threw this on really quick. Got my scrunchie. Got these like jack-o'-lantern earrings that I made this year, choker that I made this year, rosary kind of thing that I made last year, this candy corn necklace that I made this year. This dress is from the thrift store. I found it last year and I love it. I feel like it looks extra good when I wear it with like a little corset belt, so I've paired it with that today. Since it's a nighttime thing, I'm guessing I'll get cold. So I have my super awesome Halloween jacket that I made last year. Love this thing. I feel very cool in it. And then since it's a lot of walking, I got my walking boots on, some heavy leggings since it's gonna be cold, and some cool socks so that my leggings are less boring looking. One has spider webs, one has little jack-o'-lanterns. So yes, that is the plan for now. Wish me luck. Let's go to the haunted corn maze. So Cage and I got there around probably like 6:10 or so, and the sun was already beginning to set, but we had a little bit of light. And we'd never been here before, but this place was like part exotic animal rescue and part, at least for today, haunted house, pumpkin patch, etc, etc. I think I misread the website because I thought it had a corn maze, but it had a fence maze, which I hadn't heard of, but was basically just like a bunch of wooden fences that you went through. I had a lot of fun looking at all the spooky decorations they had put up, and I got scared super bad while I was like trying to film everything because I didn't realize there was one person who was like hiding as one of the scarecrows, and yeah, they got me good. Oh my god! I get really scared easily in haunted houses, but I have so much fun in them, so it was really cool to get to go. So we wandered a little bit of the grounds beforehand, but we wanted to go check out what this sort of animal situation was, and they had a lot of regular farm animals, but they also had some kangaroos and wallabies, which I didn't think we could have like Australian animals in Canada because of like the temperature and stuff, but yeah, they're like animal rescue situation that has all these, yeah, really cute little wallabies, so that was very exciting to see. A lot of people were dressed up in costumes, which were super cute, and I got to just see all these very sweet little guys that kind of reminded me of, I don't want to say giant rats because that sounds bad, but I love rats, so to me, like, a giant rat could be like the cutest thing ever. Like, look at their little feet, their giant ears, their little tails. They were so freaking sweet. There were a lot of dark brown ones and sort of dustier colored ones, but there were also some that were like pure white, which was really fun to see, and they moved like kangaroos, which was very sweet to see. I didn't know we could even have this kind of thing in our city, but here it was. It was a very exciting time. Got to meet some new animals and find out about that. Once we were done giving them some treats and some snuggles, we went and got to explore the area now that it was a little bit darker out. I wish I could have filmed more in the haunted houses, but it honestly felt like we didn't want to like hold up the line or anything, so it's not going to be a ton of footage, but it was really, really fun. They had a total of 6, and my favorite, and Cage's too, was this Scary Tales one. You had to wear these goggles, like 3D goggles, while you were in it, and things were painted so the goggles would make certain parts of the design and the paint under the light stick out, and just gave this really incredible 3D effect. It was all this very like twisted fairy tale design, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. We walked around the misty grounds and did a little bit of neon light mini golf. That was super, super cool. I've never been a mini golf fan, and Cage is the first person that I've ever really like played mini golf with, and it's actually fun with him. And it was also cool to be in a place where I was wearing some white for once, because my Halloween jacket has a lot of white in it, and I got to glow in the black light a little bit, which was really cool. I love seeing the hand-painted haunted house signs that people make, all the different designs. There was an alien one, kind of a scary clown one where you were sort of buried alive, like in the jungle sort of situation, the Scary Tales one that I mentioned, and then the one that was just the fence maze. It was really cold out, but they had so many beautiful things to see. I loved getting to see it lit up at night because all of the lights that they shone made the fog light up, and it looked absolutely mystical and spooky and enchanting, and all of the Halloween decorations looked 1,000 times better at night. It was really, really wonderful to see. We got some fries to eat and warm us up because I definitely had not dressed warm enough for the weather, but it was a really, really cool time to get to spend, and I'd like to maybe go again next year. I think outdoor haunted houses are super, super fun, and I love when they build them in sort of trucks and you get to like visit a whole bunch in one night, so it was a really, really delightful time. So the Rocky Horror Picture Show is one of my absolute favorite movies, and it's a tradition to go see it in the theater every Halloween. If you are also a fan of the show, you might be familiar with like the whole prop bag and audience participation and all that. And basically this year Cage and I were going with a total of 7 people, including us, and we wanted to make little prop bags so everyone could participate because no one but us had done like the kind of audience participation thing. So I'm going ahead and packing the bags, starting with some newspapers so we can all stay dry during the rain. I'm stamping all the bags with a little Halloween stamp, so there's like a little bit of customization. I thought that would be kind of fun. I'm going to include little pictures from the official Rocky Horror fan site of like all the little audience participation things, but I have these little jack-o'-lantern pouches. I'm going to put some rice in them so we can all throw rice during the wedding. This is one of the first things that you do, and I was trying to pack everything kind of backward of when I eventually did the bags, so this would be at the top, but I'm getting all the jack-o'-lanterns filled up with a little bit of rice that we can all throw, and putting a little piece of tape so they're nice and secure. Next is, of course, the little spray bottles. I couldn't find any at this time of year, but Cage and I found these little dinosaur squirt toys that we filled up with some water. They kind of sprayed a lot of water, but they were very cute, and I thought they were a fun time. Next time we'll try to buy water guns or spray bottles in the summer so it's easier. Then there is a glow stick and then a rubber glove because you gotta snap the rubber glove when Frank does so you get that sound effect. The noisemaker so we could party with the Transylvanians properly. Had to pack this confetti. I found it at Party City for 99 cents for a pack of 8, so that was really cool. The toilet paper for when Dr. Scott enters and you have to yell, "Great Scott," and throw the toilet paper. That's very important. All of the supplies pretty much I got either at the dollar store or Party City for quite cheap. This toast. This is actually untoasted bread, but I left it out long enough that it was hard as toast and hopefully wouldn't make too much of a mess, so that was good. And then continuing with the unintentional dinosaur theme, we found these on sale dinosaur party hats at Party City with these little T-Rexes, so we had to pack one of each of those. And last but not least, cards for sorrow, cards for pain. We had to pack the playing cards. And that was that. So we packed everything up, as I said, in reverse order. So cards at the bottom, followed by the toast and the party hat, then the toilet paper, confetti, noisemaker, basically so things would be easy-ish to grab. This is always a little bit of a mess at the show, especially with people who have never done it before, but it was still a really good time. And then the show ended up being so much fun. We had gone kind of early. I think it was like the second night, like maybe half the theater was full. I was really happy because I had gotten to dress up, and I will show a little clip clip of that later. Definitely not a full theater, but we did have one person there who knew a lot of the audience participation lines and would yell them out, which honestly makes the show like a million times better when you have people that know the lines and yell along. I swear to God, I need to just print out the script one of these days and sit in the back and follow along because it's so much fun. And you can find the script really easily online. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically there's all these very cheeky lines that you can yell throughout the show that kind of make sense if you like time them correctly, and is a really fun and funny experience. Some of them are pretty standard, like you yell certain things when certain characters are on stage, like you hiss when Dr. Scott's on stage, stuff like that. But then there's like certain things that if you time them correctly make a really funny joke. So I'd love to be really proper about that one year and really get it down, because it's so much fun when people play along. Same with just going on stage and doing shadow work. There was a person in the audience who was doing that. I think they were the same person who was there last year, and I am just so pleased whenever I see them. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a good show because this person's here. It was really cool, but I think there were a lot of first-time watchers, or virgins as people called them, at the show that night, and it was really cool, especially with our group of a bunch of virgins. I think they had a fun but confusing time is what the verdict was, but I was really happy to share that time. Okay, so that was Rocky Horror. Hey friends! Okay, hello? What do you think? Okay, it's me, and I just got back from Rocky Horror, which is why maybe this outfit looks a little more disheveled than when I left the house. Same with my makeup. But if you've seen the show, do I look familiar? Is it translating? I think it is. I'm trying to be magenta. I'll put a picture of her here in case that you haven't seen it and you don't know what I'm talking about right now and I look really silly in my maid outfit. But hi! Okay. I'm so happy about this. Okay, the idea came to me the other week. I was in the shower and I hate washing my hair. One of the reasons I hate it is because I have very curly hair, and when I wash it I have to like brush it out first. And as I was like brushing it out and like looking in the mirror and thinking about like how much I hate brushing it out, I was like, you know who I kind of look like? Because I was thinking about Rocky Horror. I was like, my hair texture when it's down and brushed out looks kind of like Patricia Quinn's when she was magenta in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And then I was like, I have a dress, I have the things, we can do it, it'll be very, very easy. So this morning I got up to go to work at 8, I got back at 2, and the show started at 7, so I had like a couple hours to really quickly make this little apron and this little headpiece, which I did. I was originally gonna wear this little maid kind of costume, but it was not accurate enough to the character, and when I was like looking at the pictures I was like, this is doable, like I can just make an apron. Like an apron is like 3 pieces of fabric, like we'll work it out. And then I was looking at pictures of her little hat thing and it just like looks like a piece of tissue, so I was like, I'll just like make something and it'll like work out. So on top, I don't know what it's supposed to be, it's like some little maid hat, but I just took like a white piece of felt and cut a circle out of it and then added lace around to make it frilly, and then I'm wearing my hair down and tried to make it like really curly. And then for makeup, okay, yeah, this is what it would be more like theoretically. So for makeup, I did just like the eyeshadow that I wore to work today, but then I like darkened it up a little bit and added like the under eyelashes. I know that she just wears super thick false eyelashes, but I have baby sensitive eyes and I didn't want to mess with those, so I just like drew them on underneath. And then I'm wearing red lipstick with like a pointy lip. I know she doesn't wear a choker, but I feel naked without one. Same with earrings. I know she doesn't wear them, but I feel weird without them. Then my dress is technically a Wednesday Addams Halloween costume that I got at the thrift store ages and ages ago. And since it's a children's Halloween costume, it didn't originally fit me, so I had to like cut open, add lace to the bottom so it wasn't so indecently short, but it's better now. And I figured that it's like pretty similar to her dress. And then yeah, this apron I made really, really quick before going out tonight. So I'll show you. It's so rough. It like literally still has just like these big dangly bits on the inside and like so much loose thread, but it's just like one piece of old bed sheet, and then this is a piece of bed sheet, and then I like gathered it real quick and made it into the apron that we are seeing now. And I feel like it works out pretty well, because yeah, the other apron that I had, let me just show you the difference in length. Like it is a quarter of the size, so I figured that this would be more accurate, even though, like, whatever you want to wear, like if you wear a little maid outfit to Rocky Horror, people will know that you're going as magenta. I don't think it matters that much. And it's been snowing in Canada lately, which is so sad, so I had to wear these, like, sorry, ignore the fact I'm not wearing shoes, but I had to wear these like skin colored leggings. This is not my leg. This is skin colored fur-lined leggings, which are very handy for Canadian winters, and then I just put fishnets over them. Ever since I first watched Rocky Horror, the character I always wanted to be was Little Nell's character, Columbia, because I just thought she was like the cutest thing ever, and I had such a crush on her, and I also had such a crush on Riff Raff as a child. It was crazy. But anyway, despite always wanting to be Columbia, I feel like magenta is honestly where it's at for me, and like my skin tone, my hair, my like whatever, it just reads better this way, so I feel like this is gonna be my go-to look for future Rocky Horrors, and I'm ready to embrace it. So welcome to the debut of this. By the way, the show was super fun. It said it was sold out, but it actually was way less packed than it should be for a sold out show. Like, it was really chill actually. Yeah, it was just really cool to all get dressed up and like make little treat bags and like throw everything in the air. It was just a fantastic time. I would go again, like in the next couple days. I know like all the shows are sold out theoretically, but if any of them are like this, where like it says it's sold out but it's actually not, like I'm down to go again. We'll see, this costume could get more uses. And by next year, I'll also scallop the edges, because that's the one thing that I didn't really get the time to do, / was too lazy to in the time frame. But regardless, I'm very pleased with this, and yeah, that's all I wanted to show, so bye.
Caramel apples are one of my absolute favorite Halloween treats of all time, and I was absolutely delighted when last year I found a good recipe for making them vegan. However, it is a little bit tricky to make caramel, and I know one of the things that the recipe really requires is super even heating. So I figured a great way to do that would be to use like a double boiler with like hot pan of water and some glass, because I heard the glass retains heat really well. And I swear, don't do this. Don't do it like me, because oh my god, when I tell you, I failed this recipe twice in a row, and the second time I was there at the stove for not 1, not 2, but 5 freaking hours with this thing not getting a temperature. I thought that my thermometer was broken and that it needed to be recalibrated, and I went and bought a new thermometer, and I was there for so freaking long in this kitchen and telling Cage, like doing my research and being like, no, it hovers for a really long time and then it eventually boils, and I'm just waiting for it to get to that point. Oh my god, it was a disaster. Cage kept telling me to just give up, like it was like, he was like, it's not worth it, like just, it's, you know, and I was like, no, it's gonna work. It was literal disaster time. I had the day off work and I was like so mad. I was like, I have the whole day off and I've just spent it like failing at making caramel. Like, so many people have made this, like why is it just me? Anyway, I rewatched my video making it last year and I saw that I just used the pot with no double boiler. I tried that, and in 15 minutes it was good, it was done, it was perfect. It was honestly funny how much of a pain it was for no reason. Literally no reason. Completely, totally fine as soon as I just like didn't use a double boiler, because I think the reason is the glass that I was using, like the glass bowl, that glass is like an inch thick. Like there was no way that was gonna heat up fast enough. Like the water kept evaporating, and then I would like add more hot water, but it wasn't hot enough, so it would like reduce the temperature. It was just so stressful. Yeah. So the third and final time, made the caramel directly on the stove. It boiled up and was done in like 15-20 minutes, and it was incredibly beautiful. The kitchen smelled amazing, and I had these apples that we had gotten when we went pumpkin picking recently. We just got them at like the kind of orchard farm that was there. So it was all like these fresh BC apples that we had gotten picked out, getting to swirl them in the caramel and just watch it like drip off in these beautiful shiny gobs. It was incredible. Caramel is seriously one of my favorite flavors, and as a person who is vegan, it's like really hard to find a vegan caramel that's not super expensive, so being able to make this one just seriously made me so happy. I've been snacking on these apples the past couple days and they just make me smile every time. They're so delicious, and honestly, as much as it was annoying to waste a bunch of time and ingredients and mess them up, the first 2 times. At least the first time I got a bunch of caramel sauce out of it, and by the end I was just so satisfied with the result that I didn't care that it was such a struggle getting there. I also had a bit of the leftover caramel sauce, so I got these silicone pumpkin molds that I had found at the dollar store I think last year, and I just filled those up with the caramel and sprinkled them with a little bit of salt, so it would be like a nice salted caramel sort of candy, and they ended up so cute. I love their little jack-o'-lantern faces. They're super goofy and adorable. I originally wanted to coat the molds in chocolate first, so it would be like a chocolate covered caramel, but by the time I had spent so much time in the kitchen, I was like, you know what, nope, we're just doing simple, right in the mold, that's it. No chocolate, it's fine. And I was really happy with the final result. And then look at those candy apples. It was absolutely amazing. They're so perfect and delicious, and like the texture is incredible. It's not like that ridiculously sticky caramel that glues your mouth shut or anything. It's perfect and creamy and silky and like just wonderfully sweet. I was so pleased that I tried a 3rd time and just went ahead and did it, because Kate was like, don't like put yourself through this, like you've been just struggling all day with this, like don't bother again, but I really wanted to, and very happy that I stuck through. Though I do need to learn to give up sometimes when things are not going my way. I know the stubbornness is not a great trait to have, but in this case, totally worth it. I was very pleased. The next morning, Cage and I had the day off together, and I wanted to celebrate by having a spooky little breakfast together while we watched some movies. It's honestly more like a brunch, and I did a similar thing last year, and it was so much fun and just such a sweet, exciting time that I wanted to do something again. I'm making first some sort of avocado toast, but I'm gonna make it shaped like little Frankensteins. So I've got this avocado that I'm peeling and adding some minced garlic, salt, pepper, lime, a tiny bit of chili flakes, and then I can mash it up with a fork and set it in the fridge. To make all the little Frankenstein features, I'm taking a piece of seaweed and just using some scissors to cut out the appropriate shapes. We need a spiky little hairline and little lines essentially for the mouth and some little triangles for the eyes, but I'm just using some kitchen scissors and the piece of toast as a guide for how big I need everything to be. I really like tomatoes with my avocado toast, and I thought it'd be nice to make little rosy cheeks with them, so that's what I'm gonna do. I got my bread nice and toasted, added a little bit of vegan butter to it, and then I could spread on the guacamole and start decorating it Frankenstein style. This is seriously such a fun and easy little snack to make, so I'd highly recommend, especially if you have like kids or something. I think they would really like it, or if you, like me and Cage, just like adorable fun Halloween stuff, then you will like it. It's very simple and just absolutely precious. I like to make one lengthwise and one widthwise. So they got a little bit of a different aesthetic going, and Cage really likes multigrain toast, so I make his with that. Then I get a banana and I just cut it in half. We're gonna make a little banana ghost by adding these little dark chocolate chips to make a little ghosty expression. And these are a little bit big. I feel like it would work a little bit better with mini chips, but that's okay. I also had to make a classic, the mummy pigs in a blanket kind of hot dog things. So I have this pastry that I just got at the grocery store. I wanted to try phyllo pastry for this project, but given the last time it wasn't super easy for me to use, I figured this might be a little less ambitious and easier to go with. So I'm going ahead with a big knife and just chopping it into strips and taking my vegan hot dog and rolling little slices of dough around it. Nothing special or fancy, just kind of turning it into a little mummy hot dog. This is a very adorable, fun, and again, easy as heck little Halloween breakfasty project to make. So here they are before they went into the oven, and here they are after. To make the little faces, I added a tiny dot of mustard for the little eyes, and I honestly think this is just like so precious and sweet. For presentation, I thought they would look really wonderful in these little ceramic coffins that I had, so I put 2 little mummies snuggling together in each coffin so Cage and I could have 2 each, and then there were 2 left over. I hadn't done this last year, but I wanted to try these little mandarin pumpkins. So I'd seen other people take a little mandarin orange and then put a celery stick in it to make it look like a pumpkin, but I hate celery, so I decided a cashew would accomplish the same effect. So in the cashew goes to the little stem, and this is seriously, again, so simple, yet so effective. look at that adorable little pumpkin. It's very, very precious. So that goes ahead on the platter. And that's pretty much all I had to make for food. Now it was time for the drinks. Cage has given up drinking coffee since months ago, but I am still a complete fiend. So I'm going ahead and getting 3 scoops of my favorite vanilla kind of flavored coffee into my French press, then a bunch of hot water. I think the ratios of all this depend on your specific coffee beans, but yeah, I usually do 3 scoops, and I let it steep from a couple minutes to all day. It honestly just depends. Going ahead and getting that poured in. But since Cage isn't a coffee guy, I wanted to get him his matcha ready. I had a little bit of this pumpkin pie matcha that we got at David's Tea, so I'm going ahead and adding that to the bowl with some cold filtered water and whisking it up, and then once it's ready I can add it to the cauldron cup. And I wanted to try to do a little bit of latte art, and I have this electric milk frother that I was going to use for it. I'm a barista, so I figured making latte art at home wouldn't be that hard, but it's honestly a lot harder when you can't really control the texture of your foam. What I ended up doing was adding some kind of thick creamer foam to the top of the matcha, these little kind of white dots, and then adding some black sesame seeds to make Cage some little matcha ghosties for his tea. And then in mine I added some caramel sauce, basically the failed caramel from making apples the other day, and I'm trying to make a little pumpkin shape. This, again, very, very difficult. I originally tried using the coffee, but it was way too watery since I didn't have espresso on hand. Regardless, the pumpkin, it's kind of hard to see, but it worked out pretty cute in my opinion. So here's our spooky breakfast all set up. It's such a delight to get to cook for someone that you love and to enjoy that meal with them. I also added an apple cider donut to Cage's plate that we got at the bakery, but I can't eat it because it's not vegan, so I got a chocolate croissant for myself, which is vegan, chocolate hazelnut from one of our local vegan bakeries. And just, yeah, how delightful it is to have a spooky cute breakfast together. It's one of my favorite annual traditions. We got all snuggled up toasty with the kitties and all our food and drinks. We watched Over the Garden Wall, which we've seen more times than we can count, but never fails to delight and is just an absolute staple of the season, so it was a necessity to get it in for this year. I was snuggled up in my glow-in-the-dark skeleton pajamas. I had tuna on my lap. We were watching my favorite show. It was just, I couldn't have asked for anything better. Getting to really relax and just hang out with Cage is one of my favorite times of the season. Since we run around and go to so many events together, it can feel really special to just be in our house, cozy, with a meal together with the kitties, and I feel so happy that we have a safe space to do that together. So our cat Tuna is a really big pumpkin fan. Whenever we have them in the house, it feels like she always gravitates toward them, and we'll just spend a lot of time like rubbing her little chin on the stems and playing with the little baby ones and just being an absolute, I call her a pumpkin all the time, but just being an absolute pumpkin, being one with the pumpkins. It's very, very cute, and we wanted to kind of memorialize and celebrate this fact this year by having a kitty photo shoot. So by the Halloween shrine, we set up a giant piece of orange fabric. It's velvet on the other side, but we just used the kind of less shiny side for this. And we got out a bunch of our favorite Halloween pieces, all of the pumpkins, plus just different kind of vintagey themed things from around the house that we thought could work within the display. We were nice and energized from our morning brunch, so we were ready to get all set up, but it was just time to kind of try things out and set up different positions of stuff until we figured out what we liked for the backdrop. We ended up using a combination of like tea towels and thrifted items, lots and lots of pumpkin gourds, Cage's corn that he's collected, all the like kind of dried rainbow corn that we put in the basket. It was a really, really cute set in my opinion, and everything was like really nice and low to the ground so that the cats would be properly in frame with it. Tuna's other beloved thing other than pumpkins is boxes. She absolutely adores sitting in them, as I'm sure a lot of cats do. So to entice her into the set, we of course had to place a little cardboard box in there. This is one of her favorites. It used to carry some cans, and we've been unable to recycle it because she keeps jumping in it every time we put it in the hall to recycle it. So the set was good to go. We were ready for production. Now it was just time to entice the models back on the set. Tuna's a lot more curious than Lemon, I think, and she also loves to play. So we got one of her favorite toys into the box. She's very, very cooperative and went into the box pretty quickly and got settled in and toasty cozy very, very fast. I love her little lack of tail. I mean, she does have a tail, it's just very, very short. She was born like that. She's a Manx cat, and it's just, in my opinion, one of the cutest things on the planet. She's very round in every way, and I adore her so much. I remember when it was Valentine's Day, like a couple years ago, Cage and I had done a Valentine's Day photo shoot of the cats, and ever since then I thought it would be really cool to do a Halloween one. Tuna was such a good model. She loves to stare at things for a really long time, so it was very easy to get some nice still shots of her. Plus, she's just so cute and photogenic, it was honestly impossible to get a bad picture of her. I'll show you guys the results at the end of these little clips, but it was such an exciting time to just hang out together with Over the Garden Wall playing in the background and just trying to get adorable pictures of our kitties. We also bribed them with some treats at some points and may or may not have snuck a pumpkin hat on them for like 1 or 2 pictures, but promise we didn't keep the hats on for long. The cats were very, very well rewarded for their participation and patience. Now we had a lot of shots of Tuna, so it was Lemon's turn. Lemon's less playful and she's really more food motivated, so we went ahead and got some of her kibble onto the set. She's a little bit less interested in posing and sitting in one spot, so it was a little bit tougher to get pictures of her, but we did manage eventually. We got some pictures by putting a little bit of her wet food treat on the pumpkin, so she was like licking the pumpkin. That was pretty cute. But in the end, here are the results. I'll show you guys some of like the highlights and favorites and maybe put some music over it or whatever. And if you want to see more of Lemon and Tuna, there's a whole photo shoot from Valentine's Day that I will link below if you are so interested. But they're seriously so freaking cute. I know everyone thinks that their pet is the cutest, but I don't know, my heart freaking melts at these girls. And I would love one day, I was telling Cage about this, I was like, if we, over the years, just like every year do one photo shoot with them of like a different holiday or whatever, we could do a whole calendar where we have like their Halloween pictures, their Xmas pictures, some sort of spooky New Year's, like, I don't know, maybe do like kind of a spooky little version of every holiday, and then have a calendar just of Lemon and Tuna being spooky cuties, or just regular holiday cuties. Look how sweet they are. I also think that Tuna, like, no offense to Lemon, but Tuna's a lot more photogenic. I think we got some absolutely hilarious pictures of Lemon. Like, yes, there's some really, really cute ones of her, but there's also some that are just so funny. I will have to show you because it was, yeah, Cage and I, when we were done taking pictures, we just sat on the couch to look through all of them, and we were just losing our minds laughing. It was so cute, so fun, and I was just a really, really great way to spend the day together. If you have pets, or if you honestly just want to take pictures of yourself, like, I think doing a little seasonal photo shoot is such a fun way to celebrate the season, and you don't need like fancy equipment or anything. Like, I just took down some Halloween decorations we already had, put up a piece of cloth as the backdrop, and we just took all these pictures on Cage's iPhone, so it was great.
Hi friends! Okay, popping in really, really quick. It's October 30th, which means tomorrow is Halloween, but it's also the day that I'm getting another tattoo. And it's from Cage, so extra, extra happy about that. This arm will never look like this again. So I hope you guys are excited to come along with me. I'll try to film a little bit so y'all can see a little bit of the process. Also, yes, desperately need to wash my hair as always. I'm super nervous. Wish me luck. I hope it goes well. I've never gotten tattooed by him in his new shop yet, so it'll be really, really cool. And oh, Tuna's here. All right, let's get to it. Wish me luck. See ya.
The tattoo shop that Cage works at is one of my favorite places to be. It's got this incredible vintage kind of Victorian golden pink aesthetic all the way through that I just find absolutely gorgeous. One of my favorite elements is this little troll of Cage that his coworker made for him. It's so freaking cute. I got settled in, and it had been about like 2 years since my last tattoo from Cage. He had done my left leg the first year we met, I think, with a jackalope, and then my other leg with a deer with wings, or a periton, the second year that we were together. And this bat tattoo was supposed to be my like Christmas present from last year, and it took a minute to get there, but we finally did, and I'm so happy with it. I feel so lucky to have a tattoo artist partner who has this like really incredible aesthetic, and I never thought I'd get a traditional style tattoo, but I did, kind of, and I love it, and it's incredible, and I didn't get any footage of getting it, but here it is. It's perfect. I adore it. It's healing incredibly, and it was like the perfect little way to celebrate the day before Halloween with like a spooky new tattoo, and we're like already planning out the sleeve, so it's just a great time. After I got home from the tattoo, I really wanted to make this blanket fort because it was on the spooky season wish list, and in previous years I had made the mistake of kind of forgetting that I am significantly shorter than Cage, and what might be comfortable for me in blanket fort sizes may not be so comfortable for him, being a taller person. So keeping that in mind, I decided to upgrade the blanket fort, and this year I was doing it in the bedroom over the bed with this whole situation instead of in the craft room like under a desk. This way it was also safer for like the cats and stuff. So I have screwed some very small hooks into the wall and attached to some safety pins to this bed sheet that I got at HomeSense with Cage this season. I believe this is my only proper flat sheet that I haven't already like cut up to make like patches or something, but I'm glad to have it for this purpose. Since it wasn't quite long enough to cover the whole bed, I decided to attach an extra piece of sheet. This, however, is a duvet cover, so it's like a little bit heavier, and I was a bit concerned about it. I'm just taking the two sheets and pinning them together with some safety pins so that I can have one giant sheet. It works out pretty good, but I think for next year I will try to invest in another flat sheet, just like thrifted or something, though the black cat face is very atmospheric, I thought. Once it's all pinned together, I can attach the little screws into the ceiling on this end and take this rope that we use for camping and hook it onto the screws. And then I thought I would just kind of drape the blanket over it, but it kept like falling down and gathering in the center, which like obviously gravity, but I did not consider this at the time. So we did end up basically attaching little safety pins to the blanket and just pinning it to the ceiling while still having the rope on there as a bit of extra reinforcement. Since it was a little bit droopy in the center, I decided to attach another rope with a hook on it to the hook in our ceiling that holds up our lamp. And don't worry, our lamp, I tested it first and it's like cold, so no problem with like burning the house down. We were all good and safe. Just attaching the rope to the lamp ceiling hook and then to a safety pin in the center of the bed sheet, so there's kind of like a little tent up portion. This was seriously turning out to be the best pillow fort like structurally that I had ever made, because before it was like a much more reliant on chairs and stuff that could fall over and not like in the ceiling, making this a much better experience. I needed some extra company in the fort, so I decided to bring in the medical skeleton that Cage got me as a surprise. I thought he would be good company, but I'll also include some stuffed animals later. And to be extra comfy, I decided it would be best to kind of set up the main nest area by the bed. I had to be a little bit careful because Lemon was hanging out on the top of the bed, but basically my technique was to pile on as many blankets as I could find in the house to just make the softest and cushiest layer of soft warmness that we could cuddle up on and watch our movies on. It ended up being ridiculously toasty and just having all those like warm fuzzy feelings of like Halloween nostalgia. For an extra bit of like Halloween charm, I added this little spiderweb bat curtain hanging, I think is what it's originally for, but I just used it as kind of like a backdrop. And of course, when you're making your fort, you have to make sure that it's still comfy, so I was making sure to test it out as we went. And it was just like so absolutely wonderful. Since the corner was looking a little bit cluttered, I decided to take a piece of velvet fabric and drape it over all the unsightly random cords and bedside furniture and stuff like that. I think I learned this trick back when I was like 14 or 15 and reading like Voltaire's like gothic homemaking series, but he talked about like if you have like boxes or stuff that you don't like laying around, you can just like put a piece of velvet over it and it makes it so much nicer. Then you just put a little display over that and ta-da, you're all set. I had this idea of making like a little pumpkin patch kind of area inside the fort, so I brought all the pumpkins that Cage and I had gotten when we were on our little Halloween road trip and stacked them in the one corner so we could have like our own little at-home pumpkin patch. I love all the like varieties of colors that they come in, all the different sizes. It just felt absolutely magical and like a little fairy tale situation in our bedroom. I wanted to make it so pretty much not an inch of floor in the fort was not covered in like warm fuzzy blanket or something, so I had to resort to using scarf at a certain point. So that's what that giant orange plaid piece is. And then it was just a matter of continuing to stack up little cute Halloween decorations and fuzzy, warm, colorful things like this pillow and this bag to make the atmosphere extra toasty warm. I went to the Halloween shrine and collected all the soft plushy type decorations and spooky dolls and little cats and stuff so they could join in on the Halloween fun, and it was just really, really delightful to have everyone all together, some of them just being like our everyday stuffed animals but wearing Halloween costumes, and then like the tiny like spider beanie baby and like this light up jack-o'-lantern and like all my different iterations of black cat stuffed animals. It's, yeah, such a delight to get to see them all together. I kept just layering more and more fabric that I found around the house to create a very spooky and cozy look, and I wanted like a little table that we could use, so I got this poof that I found back at university and covered it in, you guessed it, a piece of scrap velvet. I added this doily that Cage had. Lemon was peacefully snoozing the entire way, but I needed to make the bed around her, so I used this like very cozy jack-o'-lantern throw so that we could like snuggle up under it, and Lemon was being a good sport about it. I had moved the chair to the other corner of the room, but it still had this pink blanket on it from earlier, so I draped over a black piece of lace just to continue the spooky vibe. And this wall was still looking a little bit bare to me, so I ended up taking a piece of spiderweb fabric that I think I found at the dollar store and pinning one side of it to the lamp and the other side of it to Master Onion's hip bone so that they would be able to hold up the other side of the cloth and kind of cover up the wall a little bit. And the last step before we were completely done was to add lighting. Of course, we didn't want to burn the place down, so I had all these little orange battery-operated lights that I had found at the dollar store, and they made the atmosphere incredibly cozy and nostalgic and just so delightful. It felt like we were in this little pillow fort, like surrounded by stars or like glowing jack-o'-lanterns. The way that the lights like reflected off of the pumpkins and all the orange colors in there was just absolutely delightful. I lit some electric candles as well to really increase the atmosphere, and it was just the most cozy Halloween nest I could have ever dreamed of. The low ceilings were perfectly low, that like it wasn't intrusive, but it still felt really, really cozy, and Cage helped set up the projector so that we could watch all our spooky, scary movies. I think we ended up keeping this fort for like 4 days, which has gotta be a record for us, though I could go for much longer, and we left the hooks in the ceiling so we can put it back up anytime we like. We watched Talk to Me, which Cage recommended and I thought was really, really fun, and I'd never seen Monster House, so we watched that. The first night for dinner, I had made mac and cheese jack-o'-lanterns. Basically, I just took a pepper and cut it and hollowed it out and filled it up with vegan mac and cheese, and then next to it is a little thing of graveyard hummus, basically black olive hummus that I made, and then cut out some tortilla chips to be in spooky shapes so that we could have like a little ghosty graveyard. There's also some thyme in there to be like little trees, and since I had so much tortilla left over, I used some spooky cookie cutters to make them into like little bats and cat shapes and stuff like that. It was a really, really tasty dinner, and I enjoyed it very, very much. For our drink, we had this gold, sparkly, and dark purple witch's brew. It was this like vodka mix that I had gotten at Winners, but I added some grape juice to it, glow stick, and sparkly edible glitter, as well as like a little grape on the side with like a cute little Halloween toothpick. It was just an incredible, incredible night, and like the perfect way to like kick off the Halloween, since we had taken the 5 days off basically before Halloween, which we're both so lucky to be able to do, and to just really focus on soaking up the beautiful spirit in those 5 days was incredibly special. And yeah, this was the way we spent the night before Halloween. The next morning was Halloween day, so we celebrated by waking up early and having a nice walk around to look at all the decor. It's absolutely spectacular when the people in a neighborhood around you actually decorate. Because I feel like I heard so many like very sad stories about people who were saying that like no one in their town decorates anymore and no one goes trick-or-treating, and it just seems like such a sad time. So I was extremely lucky to get to see all the incredibly creative and beautiful ways that people were setting different decorations at this time of year. I also met an incredible amount of beautiful cats, and especially a lot of them were like huge and fluffy. There was this wonderful brown tabby, There was like this orange one later that I met in a window. This one was incredibly friendly, and as much as I disapprove of outdoor cats, it's always really exciting to meet them, but I just wish that they would stay safe and indoors where they can be looked after safely and properly. We had gone to a local coffee shop earlier and gotten a delicious seasonal beverage. I think I had like a maple pecan latte, this time with actual coffee in it, and Cage got a pumpkin pie tea latte with I think black tea in it. And we got to walk around and look at the dying leaves while sipping our warm, delicious drinks and getting ready for the anticipation of the night. I was pretty sad this year because we got a solid amount of snow like the week before Halloween, and I think it was extra sad because I'd gotten so spoiled last year because the weather was absolutely incredible and we had like the longest autumn ever with like perfect beautiful colors that lasted a really long time, versus this year when the snow came and it reminded me back of like being a kid and like having to go trick-or-treating with like your costume over your jacket and like just, yeah, that whole kind of situation. So while there was kind of a nostalgic element to having the snow around, I was also just bummed out because I'm like, I miss that beautiful like red and gold and orange color scheme. Despite that, it was incredible to see everyone's beautiful creative decor, and that more than made up for it. And besides, though most of the leaves were completely dead, that still didn't mean that they were off the trees absolutely. There were still a lot of like fragile ones at the end hanging on, super dark and earthy colors. They're still rustling within the wind and having the sunlight shine through them. There was that crispness of the late fall air when everything's kind of dead and beginning to really go to sleep for the season. Everything's rustly and almost a skeleton of itself. We saw some friendly squirrels, we saw some very jolly jack-o'-lanterns, and I could just feel the beginning of the Halloween mischief setting in. It was a fantastic way to spend the morning, and I was incredibly grateful to just walk around holding Cage's hand and appreciating all the creativity around us.
Hello friends, happy Halloween. It is finally October 31st, which is freaking amazing. I had a really cool, awesome morning today. Slept in, got up, went to a local tea shop and got like some nice coffee. We walked around and like looked at all the decor that was super nice. My new tattoo looks amazing and I'm so happy with it, and it's like not too sore, so that's fantastic. Got a bunch of food prepped for the evening, and Cage and I are just about to go and like walk around and like enjoy watching people's, like looking at people's costumes and seeing all the decor lit up at night and everything. So I want to show my Halloween outfit this year. It's not really like a character or anything. I didn't even know what I was doing till tonight, which is super uncharacteristic for me, but it's the pigtails with these like recycled hair things that I made, my little candy corn hair clips that I made, candy corn earrings that I made, candy corn freckle makeup, hello, that has a bunch of like little rhinestone and sparkles and stuff, so I've been wanting to try that and I think it looks okay. Earrings, necklace, other little candy corn necklace. I'm gonna have to wear a sweater over this, but for now just wearing my adorable dress. This is technically a children's dress, but it glows in the dark and it's just like all the perfect Halloween vibes. Plus I got this sweater and I'm gonna wear my big boots, and I have my stripy socks on. Stripy socks, so it's just a super fun look. I'm still gonna get my boots on, but yes, for now, let me go get Cage so you can see our adorable Halloween outfits together, because I'm really proud of the vests that I made. I think they look amazing. Okay, let's do it.
So I'd wanted to set out for the evening before the sun had completely set so we could kind of witness that transformation as the golden pink clouds settled over the city, the moon slowly rose, and the darkness settled over everything. We went into a different part of the neighborhood that night, and the decorations did not disappoint. It was incredible. I saw so many of those 12-foot skeletons, and there were a lot of kids like running around in their costumes, from like really little ones that like still needed their parents to hold them, to kind of young teenagers like running around with their friends. The entire neighborhood was alive and it felt like everyone was really in the Halloween spirit. We walked by the forest for a while where the sun was setting dark blue over everything and got to like just listen to the sounds of people laughing in the distance, the Halloween music blaring over speakers, and see the glow of lights in the distance. It was like all the jack-o'-lanterns were smiling down on us and the Halloween spirits were happy that we were around to witness all of their joy of the season. It's absolutely incredible to get to see like this friendly side of your neighbors when everyone's like handing out candy and inviting you around the bonfire. There were so many people that like were hanging out in big groups and just it felt like you could just go up and say hi. A lot of people were offering free drinks, which I did not partake in, but was a very sweet gesture for like the adults that were trying to enjoy the Halloween night. And as usual, though I didn't try to trick or treat like asking for candy from people, if there was a bowl out, I would partake. And for the people who insisted on giving Cage and I candy, we did accept. There was a very nice couple who insisted we got candy because they were saying we had made all this effort, so it was only right. I still think it would be fantastic next year to dress up for Halloween and make some treat bags or get a box of candy or do something and just like stand on a street corner that's busy to hand it out, because the where our house is located is not really a prime trick-or-treating spot, but I really like the idea of like being an adult and handing out candy because I've never had that experience since I've always lived kind of far away from where trick-or-treaters would go. And I know I'm 25 and a lot of people think that that's like too old to go trick-or-treating, but Cage and I have a fantastic time every year. And even if we're not like going specifically for candy and like to go say trick-or-treat to the houses and stuff, it's still really delightful to witness like young kids doing that, to see everyone in their costumes, to look at the wonderful decorations. Everything looks so magical at night, and on Halloween night you're like guaranteed that everyone's like lit up their decorations that they have, and it's just absolutely delightful. There's no night like it, and I treasure it forever. There was something so magical about having the cold weather this year. In the end, there was like that kind of stinging of your cheeks and like the coldness on the tip of your nose that just feels so especially appropriate for like a Canadian Halloween. It was really special in the end to be layered up and be like, oh my gosh, I remember feeling exactly like this when I was like 8 years old and going trick-or-treating with my best friend and being chilly and seeing your breath in the air. It was absolutely fantastic. When we got in from the cold, it was time to get our dinner on. To be fair, some of this meal I had prepped beforehand, but I'm just going to put all the footage of it together for ease of watching. One of the items on the charcuterie board was, like last night, the spooky tortilla chips. So I got just a tortilla from the grocery store, and I have my Halloween cookie cutters out to make all sorts of different shapes, and I'm using the sun-dried tomato wrap, so they have an orange color, but they also make a cheddar one that's like very orange, and a jalapeno one that's green, and a white one that you could like use for ghosts. Like there's a lot of options. For extra details, I wanted to use a knife to cut out extra little features. I popped them in the oven at 300 degrees for like 10 minutes, I think, and once they were all nice and crispy, I had this wonderful set of like Halloween tortilla chips, vegan, customizable, and absolutely delightful. I'd love to make spooky nachos with these one day, but yeah, for now I had my ghosts, my cats, my pumpkins, my coffins, and my bats. Utilizing those spooky cookie cutters further, I wanted to make some little cheese ghosts, so I'm taking some vegan mozzarella cheese and my cookie cutter and using that to make my little shape. For the features, as usual, I'm using some little black sesame seeds, and I think they're just an absolutely delightful, cute, and very easy addition to a charcuterie board or a sandwich or whatever you'd like. Then I have this vegan cheddar, which I wish was more orange, but it's fine. I'm using my pumpkin cookie cutter to make the little pumpkin shape, and then some seaweed to make the little faces, though you could also just cut out the faces that you wanted with a sharp knife if you didn't want the seaweed flavor on them. Now, this next part I made, gosh, like a day before, or maybe 2. I wanted to make a pumpkin-shaped cashew cheese. So I'm getting some cashews soaked in boiling hot water for a couple minutes until they're soft. You can also boil them over the stove to make them extra soft, or do it overnight in like regular water. But yeah, getting my soaked cashews and putting them in a blender. I'd love to have a really powerful one to get a super creamy texture. So if you have like a Vitamix or something, this recipe will work out great. But if not, you might struggle a little bit. I will link the recipes as always below, but I'm using some cashews, some refined coconut oil, which I hadn't tried before, but is so tasty and doesn't have like the coconut flavor, and I was absolutely delighted by its texture in the cheese. I'm also using some lemon juice, nutritional yeast, salt, pepper. You can see the ingredients listed below if you are interested. But once everything's in there, I can blend it up, and I found that like pulsing it was kind of helpful, but also doing it in small portions and making sure to scrape down the sides. It took a while, but we did eventually get a cheese-like texture, and I'm getting a piece of saran wrap and globbing all of it into the center. In a normal cheese ball, you would just make it round or maybe roll it in something, but since this has to be a pumpkin shaped one, I'm going to go ahead and once I've wrapped it up, I'm using some rubber elastic bands to make the pumpkin creases. So I want to say I had 4 rubber bands, and I'm just placing them evenly, or as evenly as I can, across the pumpkin cheese so that they'll make like little indents. I found this worked out really well and was much easier than using string. Once it was all wrapped up though, I set it in the freezer to hang out for a day, and then I put it in the fridge Halloween morning, and tonight was the night it was going to be brought back out. But I wanted to make these little skull mushrooms that I had seen online. So basically I'm taking some mushrooms, cutting them in half, and then making some little slits in the bottom for the teeth, and then using a straw to poke out the holes for the eyes. I had originally seen this recipe of someone making this on a pizza with some olives that were like shaped like spiders, and I thought it was a really cute idea. But one of my favorite recipes to make with mushrooms is these air fryer mushrooms that Cage and I really like. They're lemony and peppery and salty and garlicky and absolutely delicious. So I put my usual coating on them and stuck them in the air fryer, and I honestly think they turned out really good. They look a little bit like little dehydrated skulls or something, but they're very cute and rustic in their own way. So now that all my ingredients were prepped, it was time to put together the board. I got this ceramic charcuterie board at HomeSense, I want to say last year, and I absolutely love it. It's got this Ouija board pattern in this deep blue color that I think is fantastic. I'm starting out by setting some strawberries on them, and then these green grapes, which give this absolutely fantastic spooky color. I'm putting these pieces of vegan ham and turkey, which I could have cut out with like spooky cookie cutters, but at this point I was like a little bit tired and just wanted to get dinner on. So I'm arranging out the jack-o'-lantern cheddar, skull mushrooms, my mozzarella ghosties, and now it's time for the pumpkin cheese to shine. So since I had those peppers the other night with the mac and cheese in them, I had saved the stem from one of the peppers to get an ultra realistic sort of pumpkin stem. So once I unwrapped it, I just stuck that pepper stem in, and that pumpkin was good to go. I added some black olives, pickles, and green olives to their charcuterie board, and then I added my favorite little star crackers. These are like cheddar flavored and they're vegan and they're by the brand Made Good, and I love them. Then adding some of those tortilla chips that are like jack-o'-lantern shaped, some that are bat shaped, and a couple of crackers that Cage likes, as well as some cashews and some sprigs of fresh herbs. I also added these apple chips that my dad had made. They're like dried apples and they're so good. They have like that texture of marshmallow. I absolutely adore it. So this was our spooky vegan charcuterie board for 2023 done. I love making spooky food and I find it so fun and satisfying. So I hope you guys enjoy getting to see it and maybe are inspired to try making some of your own. Because yeah, charcuterie, one of my favorite meals and is so fun and easy to make. I wanted to celebrate the season with mulled wine. This is one of my favorite seasonal beverages. It's so warming and toasty, and the warm spices in the dark red wine just give me incredible kind of holiday feelings. So I'm cutting up a fresh orange and some apples that my parents had gifted me, and peeling a little bit of fresh ginger that I had picked up at the grocery store. I'm getting a pot boiling on the stove with a bottle of red wine in it, and I'm putting it on like a low simmer so it doesn't evaporate all the alcohol out. And I'm adding in all the apple slices, the orange slices, some cinnamon sticks, the ginger, and some cloves, and then letting it simmer until it's nice and warm. I didn't realize that Cage actually wanted a cold drink, so we ended up icing his with some bat ice cubes and adding an orange slice and a cinnamon stick. but for mine, obviously, I had it nice and toasty warm with a orange slice and a cinnamon stick as well. And then we were cozied in for the night. This was our setup in the fort. We had our little charcuterie board on the table above. We had our wine on the side. We watched the Halloween tree that night, as well as Terrifier. I think that's what we watched that night, but it was my first time watching both of them, and it was super fun. I really enjoyed the Halloween tree because I had read the story last year, listened to the audiobook, and it was really cool to see the animation version of it. And then Terrifier was wild. It was super spooky, but it was a very good pick for Halloween, I'll say. The next day was November 1st, but that doesn't mean Halloween is over because obviously Halloween is forever, especially in this household. So we decided to celebrate the last bit of Halloween cheer before I had to go to work that evening by carving our pumpkins finally. We had on our caramel apple candle from last year and we had snacked on some of the caramel apples that morning. We'd gotten those pumpkins out and set out a big tarp because I greatly overestimated how messy the actual carving process would be, but we both wanted to do just some kind of face this year, so we got our markers and our tools out and started sketching out the design. Mine was just going to be like a kind of humanoid face with like a lot of celestial elements, and I think Cage wanted to do more of a cat, but we had Tuna poking around the whole time to say hello and check out how we were doing. In the meantime, we were watching Over the Garden Wall, which we had been slowly consuming throughout the season, and we were kind of near the end now, and I think it ended like right as we had finished carving our pumpkin, so it ended up being the perfect timing for it. There's something so incredibly magical about the smell of fresh cut pumpkin, scraping it out and feeling all like the squishy slimy seeds. It's very nostalgic and fun in like this slightly gross way. I was wearing orange eyeshadow and had on my Sam jack-o'-lantern earrings to honor the pumpkins that we were going to be carving, and it was just so awesome. One of my favorite parts about carving pumpkins is that you get to roast the seeds after, so I was sure to collect all of those, and when we were picking out the pumpkins, I made sure to pick heavy ones so we would get lots and lots of seeds, and it was a successful time. I wanted to try out this poking technique where you like poke the pumpkin before you carve into it to make sure that the lines stay more clean. I don't know how well it worked, but we had a really good time. And I know a lot of people think these little like pumpkin carving saws are like kind of for children or like not very effective, but I find them super easy and fun to use and way less scary than like a giant knife, so I was happy. In the end, my pumpkin turned out adorable, I think. I gave him little star freckles and a little spooked face, and Cage's turned out super cute as well. He has such a knack for carving jack-o'-lanterns in this very, like, authentically vintage-looking style that I am incredibly jealous of because mine always look a little bit goofy, but it's still, that's not the point. It's just about having fun, and we did do that. So, mission accomplished. We got our pumpkins nice and cleaned up, and right as the end credits started rolling, they were pretty much finished. I got some really cute pictures of them. I wanted to set them up so I could take like a nice Polaroid. But Tuna, being the eternally pumpkin-loving cat, decided that she had to be in the photo as well. So she had a really fun time just like sitting in between them and like looking at them while I was like while I was lighting their candles. It's the cutest thing. Like, it's not just pumpkins, to be fair. She also really likes bananas, and anything I think with a hard stem that she can rub her little chin on is like very fascinating for her. But she's also just curious about the world and how it works, and is always like wanting to watch things and see how they're progressing. She's one of the funniest cats I've ever met, and I am so lucky that she's in my life. I got our pumpkins lit up, and it was incredibly strange to not have them glowing on Halloween night, though I did make sure to light a candle, especially during the midnight hour of the evening. But having them for November 1st was still a very beautiful way to feel like the spirit wasn't over and it can last as long as we'd like. It's always kind of sad when the Halloween season is like officially over to everyone else because people start taking down their decorations and you stop being able to find all the spooky stuff in the shops, and it just feels like that magical time is over. But I guess it's important for things like that to be fleeting so that you can truly enjoy and treasure them as much as possible while they are still there. Now that the pumpkins were carved, it was time to work on the seeds, so I got them soaked in water so all the goopy stuff would sink to the bottom and I could just clean the seeds on top. I got 4 different flavors ready for them this year. Last year I just did 3, a pizza one, a ranch one, and a dill one. This year I did the same, but also added a cinnamon and brown sugar flavor. I'll link the recipe that I used below, and they're absolutely delicious, but I had an incredibly sad turn of events as I was making them. Unfortunately, I used one kind of weirdly deep dish pan for one set of them, and the silicone parchment paper that I had put in to protect it was not protected from me accidentally grabbing it when I was pulling out one of the other trays and launching all the seeds across the room. It was incredibly sad and dramatic, and it was one of my favorite flavors, which was a pizza one. Like, the pizza flavored seeds were one of the best ones, so super bummer. Maybe I'll cut up another one of the pumpkins just to make the pizza flavored pumpkin seeds, because those are so freaking good, you guys, you have no idea. The pumpkin seeds that we did end up roasting ended up absolutely delicious, and it was my first time making the cinnamon brown sugar ones, and they were definitely kind of the weirdest ones to make because the brown sugar melted and it turned kind of crystallized, and I kept like not being sure if they were done, because with the other ones you can tell pretty easily, but with these ones they were kind of syrupy and it was a bit difficult to know. But regardless, they all ended up super tasty, and we had another night of hanging out in the fort and eating a delicious Halloween snack. In this case, the 3 flavors of pumpkin seeds. That was the Halloween spooky season of 2023. I don't know if my camping vlog will come out before or after this. I'm guessing after, so I don't think it's quite the end of the spooky season, but in case it is, I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming along on the journey with me, especially watching till the end. I know this is an incredibly long video, and I really appreciate your time and patience. It means the world to me that people appreciate my joy for Halloween and spreading the Halloween cheer and showing you like all my exciting adventures, so thank you for allowing me to do that. I hope you have a wonderful day or night or whenever it happens to be that you're watching. Give yourself a big hug from me, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.